Hi everybody, we're doing the Kingfisher drawing today. So what you need is paper. I've given the template for this drawing that will be up on my website. And I'm going to quickly run you through everything you need. So a eraser, a kneadable razor if you want. That's a blending stick. You can also use a tissue, just don't use your finger. And then I use Derwent Art Studio pencils, Raffine drawing pencils, and then the Derwent Artist pencils, and Derwent Intense pencils. While I was drawing this, basically it was the pencils I had, so I just pretty much grabbed any color that worked for what I needed. And you can find the drawing on my website, like I said. So it's a kingfisher. I love little kingfishers. They're they're incredibly cute. They're not pretty very cute. They're incredibly cute. So we're going to be doing a pencil drawing of a kingfisher. I am not the world's best pencil artist. I'm putting it out there. But someone asked me nicely because of lockdown. The only art supplies they had were pencils and school pencils, so I did a whole tutorial on drawing a kingfisher. You may notice I change my grip quite often, so right now you'll see that I'm doing the palette, the knife grip, which allows me to do broader strokes of a fairly even color. One thing about drawing pencils that I hate to admit, you don't want them super sharp. If they are super sharp, you want to turn the pencils around onto their sides and draw like that. That way you'll get a less streaky effect and you'll get a much smoother effect while you're busy drawing. You can see here I zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm doing small little strokes. I'm trying to almost do a roundish stroke just so I can blend my edges in. And with pencil, I can never remember if you're supposed to go darker to lighter or lighter to darker. So I ended up switching between the two of them techniques quite a lot depending on what I needed, and then just blended it out. So this is going to be a lot of just very slow shading progressions. I need to inform you as well that this drawing took me roughly an hour to draw. I have sped this video up a lot because you don't really want to see me drawing for an hour. So this video has been sped up quite a bit, so the progression will be quickly, but the technique is mostly the same throughout. Small soft strokes. These pencils are very intense. If you're going to be using normal school pencils, be warned as well, don't put too much pressure on immediately. Rather use less pressure and build your amount of pigment on your paper. Don't do the grade 1, grade 2 thing where you press really hard so you get that shiny matte color. It's going to make it very difficult for you to add more color or blend your colors in as you go. From time to time you'll also notice that I'm using the colored pencils and my eraser just so I can blend and remove some of my pigment. This is only possible if your pigment's not too hard. Yeah, I'm thinking here about what pencil I need in the video. So bear that in mind. I had my iPad with my image open on my lap while I was busy drawing so I could see what colors I wanted to use. I will put the image I used for this drawing as well on my website so you can see it. I got it from Unsplash, which is a royalty-free website which you can use for drawing, for pretty much anything, for photography. So I will be putting the credit to the photographer in the description box below and on my website because it's a really good photo, and it's always nice to say to the artists, thank you very much. That said, if you do decide to use this, you do not have the permission to sell this because I didn't take the photo myself. So let's just get all of the legal bits out of the way. But here you can see I'm using my eraser just to remove some of the pigment I put down so I can get lighter shades and ours. Also, this pencil color everyone calls skin tone, but I don't actually know anyone with that skin tone. Can we please teach small children that that's not skin tone? Here you can see me using my burnishing stick. If you don't have a blender, you can use a tissue that you've wrapped around on a stick. Just preferably don't use your finger because the oils in your finger smudges the pigment and then you get some weird effects the more color you're putting on. So try and use either a tissue or a blending stick or just a eraser or a lighter other color pencil to do your blends with. So that's just one of the things I've realized through the years is try and not get the paper all oily with your hands. I tend to wash my hands right before I start drawing so I don't transfer too much oil. Other artists have the whole elbow, a whole piece of paper that they have under their hand while they're working. It really does depend on your skin and how you like to work. But if you know you're particularly oily, grab a piece of paper, put it under your hands so you're not smudging your hands' oils onto your paper. This is a very weirdly technical thing that I've noticed, and it sometimes bugs me that artists and people don't seem to care about this. But especially when you're starting out, the difference between small things like not having oil spots from when your hand rubbed onto your paper does make a huge difference to the end product. You don't need the best supplies, you just need to practice using the supplies you have. So as you can see, I've been mostly using lighter colors and then blending my darker, more intense colors into it. That way I know where to put pigment rather than where to take pigment out. There is a whole art move style where you put in a lot of pigment and then you remove it, but I quite like this more where I'm applying as much pigment as I need. I don't feel like I'm wasting pigment of my pencils. And yes, I'm aware of the fact that I'm using about 20 shades of orange. One of the things I like about this versus one of the things I like about paint versus pencils is I have a much easier time getting the colors I like from blending my custom colors versus using pencils. I know a lot of people can blend colors perfectly with pencils. I'm just not at that skill level yet. Hopefully if I continue doing some pencil drawings for you guys, I'll get there, but not there yet. Interesting thing I've also learned from being in lockdown with my cats is don't leave anything on your desk. I've had 2 drawings which have been basically ruined because of muddy little paws coming through the window. Maybe my art desk shouldn't be right at the window as well, but I like the extra sun, so this seems to be the 3 of us will have to learn how to live with each other. Here you'll notice I'm using my black pencil and I'm not going too dark, but I'm busy putting the feather detail in. So it's a lot more jagged because I'm trying to get that more feathery feel. So you'll also notice I'm using a sharper pencil than I have been using. And I'm using the pencil more the way you would traditionally hold a pen so that I can get those sharp, crisp lines versus the knife style that I've showed you earlier. So it's just something to bear in mind with the drawing is you're gonna want to switch out how you're holding your hand when you're doing this because otherwise it won't work. And I've sped up the rest of the video quite a lot because it's just the same techniques over and over and over. It's either this very strong clean line work, or I've been using very soft, very blended effects. From time to time I'll show you the colors I use just so you can get an idea of how many colors go into giving the final effects. But yeah, this is very sped up now just so you can see how to draw this. Don't worry about getting this perfect. I didn't get this perfect. This is just one of those things. It's a skill exercise. The more you do this type of drawing, the better you'll get. And birds are actually quite hard to draw properly. Their feathers are a trick. A treat when you get them right, but a trick when you get them wrong. Also a trick to get them right. So yeah. If you've got any art tips that you've noticed or things you really want me to show you how to do, then please let me know. I've already been asked to do a basic how to hold paintbrushes and how to get different effects from your different paintbrushes, especially with watercolor and acrylic. So if that's something you're interested in, please like this video and comment below telling me what you're interested in. As you can hear, I'm happy to take requests. If you know me in real life, you can pop me a WhatsApp. I'm not going to put my phone number down here. Or if you don't know me in real life and you want to see some of a different technique or a new way of doing something, just pop a comment below and tell me what you want, and if possible I'll do my best to help you. Here you can see I'm using my blending stick like crazy. I have a very hard time getting smooth layers of pigment across one specific area, so you'll be noticing I'm blending a lot while I'm doing this, because I want to get the feathery look, but I also want to get the colors right. So it took a lot of blending to get this one to a point where I thought, okay, I can leave the feathers alone now. But yes, so here I'm using quite a few different hand techniques of holding the pencils. So everything from a writing grip to a knife grip as I go, and sometimes if I'm not sure I'll pull away, do something else, or take my lighter pencil and just burnish the color a bit in, just so I can see what happens if I blend the colors. And yeah, so shadows are tricky. I didn't want to use too much gray, but the right side of the drawing is in a bit of a shadow, so that's why I'm adding a lot more of a brownish tint on that side. Not because a kingfisher is darker there, but because that's where the shadow would fall. And that's something as an artist to pay attention to, is where your shadows do fall, because that gives you the depth that you won't necessarily have if you're not paying attention to your highlights and your shadows. So that is something I'm happy to do a whole video on as well, is how to do shadow and light in drawings and paintings. A lot of art lecturers and art theorists do believe the better you draw, the better you paint, because you understand proportions so much better. And I do agree with that. That said, I can't draw humans very well. I've 3 years of art school and I still can't draw humans properly. Yay! But yeah, so this is just finishing up the bird here and then doing the tree branch, otherwise it's just floating randomly in the air. I didn't draw the background, not because of any hardcore reason other than the fact that after I got to this point I was actually quite tired. This is a very intense form of art for me, doing something from stop to start in one sitting. And you can actually see the texture of my table coming through on this. I like some of these types of textures, so I purposely left it in. I didn't try and blend it out too much, but other people wouldn't like texture, so it's also again how you feel about it. But yeah, so here you can see the kingfisher is pretty much done. It's just the last little bit of technique and refining at this point. So you can see the wing and the toes and the tree and all of that. And that's the finished kingfisher. So there's the finished actual drawing, and then I'm going to quickly show you what I did on student paper. So that was normal printer paper and student pencils there. You can see it's not as bright because I was trying to get the colors to work properly, but I quite like this drawing as well. I like the swirly effect I managed to do with the chest. There you can see the cat paw prints. I can't do much about that. And yeah, have a lovely day. Bye.